this is the GOAT door, right? Like, okay, I want some rings, and you realize, hey, Michael Jordan ain't in here, y'all. he ain't in this door, y'all. He's somewhere else.
He's not gonna come back young.
He ain't in this door, right? And it's just one of those things where what we're as players, we're factoring in our numbers, right? Our rings, and saying, no, we should be able. I have leading title. I beat him in every stat. Why y'all not putting me in front of him? And the answer is he was the NBA. So when Bird and Magic was, battling, and when Jordan came in, what they seen was a whole different animal, right? You're seeing something that is different, moves different, talks different, approaches the game different, swag, phenomenal, right? This is the best thing we've seen. Right? I don't give a fuck what he does. This is the best player we've ever seen, right? It was the eye test, right? 88, 87, 88, like he literally went from the wings, they took the wings off. He got the logo. Yeah. They gave him a logo in 88. People don't realize that he got the logo in 88, right? They took the wings off and say, you got Jordan, right? So that whole campaign, and that is considered the greatest individual year anybody could have had. That's when he became the best player ever. There was no ring. There was no, the rings is just what they get to use now. 6, it was just the way he did it. He carried what we have now, solo mission. It's hard to beat solo mission with stats. LeBron can win 6 rings right now.
But he won solo.
They're not giving it to him.
Yeah.
Right? You're not giving a dude who started this joint.
Yeah.
Right? It's just
It's tough to do.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Right? So basically everybody just fighting for second.
Yeah. That's an interesting take.
But that comes up. You're talking about 88, 89, right? They're saying he's the best player in the world who's ever played this game. You got somebody with 11 rings. They're like, oh, I did it against white folks, right? Then you have, same thing with Wilt. No matter what it is, it wasn't against like 78 when it merged and you had the best in the world all in one building. That's when stats really matter.
Yeah.
When everybody in the world is all together.
Yeah.
Right? Julius Erving, all of them, George Gervin. Yeah, now we're going to see. So when he came and like, oh, what's this? This is God right here. This him.
Yeah.
The problem ain't that you're fighting for, his greatness. You're saying all his positives on why he is, but everybody's negative on why they shouldn't be. Right? That's the problem. Why you got to use all the negatives on why this person can't be Jordan. And that's what I'm like, well, what negatives do you hear about Magic game, Jordan game? You don't hear nothing negative about their game, but they can tell you all ours.
Right.
Shit, motherfucker couldn't go left, he couldn't do this, he couldn't do that. They couldn't even dribble.
Right.
They couldn't even dribble the ball. What are you talking about? Like, God damn.
Gilbert 5 points per game, the deadliest offensive weapon and the most ferocious defensive force all in one body. He wasn't just another athlete, he was a superhuman presence walking into the game of basketball. Imagine being an opponent in 1988. You knew he would shoot, slash, and score, but you couldn't stop it. Then, on the other end, he was there again, cutting passing lanes, blocking shots, stripping the ball, erasing your confidence possession by possession. Jordan didn't just defeat your body, he broke your spirit. And that's why 1988 became a permanent turning point. Jordan didn't need rings to be crowned. LeBron, Kobe, Durant, Curry, all of them needed championships, resumes, accolades to validate their case. Jordan did not. He made every metric irrelevant because the way he played was the proof. His footwork, his hang time, his eyes, his will to dismantle you, everything blended into one declaration. The throne already had its king. The championships that came later were merely exclamation points to a story that had already been written. The rings were not the reason for his greatness. They were the inevitable outcome of a truth already carved into history. Michael Jordan was the GOAT even before he ever tasted team glory. Bird and Magic built the stage. But Jordan turned the NBA into a religion. Before Michael Jordan arrived, the NBA was in trouble. In the late 70s, the league was plagued with declining ratings, drug scandals, and games so irrelevant that finals matchups were shown on tape delay. Basketball was at risk of fading into the background of American sports. Then came Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. Their rivalry rescued the league. Showtime Lakers versus the blue-collar Celtics wasn't just about basketball. It was about style, race, geography, and culture. They saved the NBA. They made it matter again. But then came Michael Jordan, and saving the NBA was no longer the goal. He didn't just keep the league alive, he transformed it into something far greater, a global religion. Jordan's presence was different. Magic and Bird gave the league a pulse. Jordan gave it a heartbeat that the world could feel. The moment he stepped on the floor, the game became theater, poetry, war, and art all at once. His hang time wasn't just defying gravity, it was defying imagination. His fadeaway wasn't just a shot, it was a signature, a move that belonged to no one else on earth. His competitiveness wasn't just fierce, it was biblical, the kind of relentless fire that could inspire awe and fear at the same time. And then came the culture. Nike launched the Jumpman in 1988, and Jordan's image escaped the hardwood. He wasn't just a basketball player anymore, he became a symbol. Sneakers turned into status, posters of his dunks became altars in kids' bedrooms. People who never watched a single basketball game could still recognize his silhouette. That's not sports, that's evangelism. Magic and Bird may have rescued the NBA, but Jordan made it immortal. He carried the league from a national pastime into a global phenomenon. He made basketball universal, the language of playgrounds in New York, the streets of Paris, the gyms of Manila, and the courts of Africa. He turned the NBA into something you didn't just watch, but something you believed in. This is the difference. Bird and Magic lit the flame. Jordan turned it into a wildfire, a blaze that spread across the planet and still burns today. And that's why when people talk about GOATs, they don't just measure rings or stats, they measure impact. Jordan didn't just dominate a league, he created a religion. Jordan faced the gauntlet of Hall of Famers. One of the most common arguments used to elevate LeBron James in the GOAT debate is this: he faced tougher competition. People point to Golden State with Kevin Durant, to the Spurs dynasty, to the modern super teams of the NBA. But when you peel back the layers of nostalgia and actually look at the facts, the narrative crumbles. Because Michael Jordan didn't just face great players, he faced a gauntlet of Hall of Famers night after night, year after year.
Start with the Detroit Pistons, the infamous bad boys. They weren't just tough, they were vicious. They built the Jordan rules specifically to stop him, throwing bodies, elbows, fists, and cheap shots at him every time he touched the ball. Any other star might have broken. Jordan didn't just endure, he broke them. Once he climbed over Detroit, he never looked back. Then there were the Boston Celtics of Larry Bird, a dynasty so stacked that even Jordan at his peak couldn't topple them alone. And what did Bird say after Jordan dropped 63 points in the Boston Garden? That was God disguised as Michael Jordan. That wasn't hyperbole, that was the respect of one of the greatest ever, admitting he had just seen something unearthly. After Boston came the Los Angeles Lakers' Showtime, led by Magic Johnson. They were the face of the NBA, the golden franchise. Jordan met them in the 1991 finals and ripped the torch right out of their hands. From that moment on, the NBA was no longer Magic's league, it was Jordan's. And look at the list of names Jordan had to conquer on the biggest stage. Clyde Drexler, Charles Barkley, Gary Payton, Karl Malone, John Stockton, all Hall of Famers, all legends in their own right. Each of them tried to etch their name in history at Jordan's expense. Each of them left with the same scar, a finals loss to #23. Compare that to LeBron's path. Yes, he faced dynasties, but he also racked up finals losses. He fell short against the Spurs. He fell short against the Warriors. He lost 6 times on the biggest stage. Jordan, 6 trips, 6 rings, 6 finals MVPs, and every time he did it against legends whose names still echo through the halls of Springfield. The truth is simple. LeBron faced great teams, Jordan faced great players, and he beat them all. His road to immortality was paved with the bodies of Hall of Famers who could have been champions in any other era, but in the era of Michael Jordan, they were merely obstacles. Eye test versus stat test. Why Jordan wins every time. The GOAT debate often gets buried under mountains of stats. People throw around career totals, advanced analytics, efficiency ratings, usage percentages, and longevity milestones. LeBron fans especially love this battlefield because on paper his numbers stretch across 2 decades and pile higher with every passing season. But here's the problem. Greatness is not built on spreadsheets, it's built on the eye test. And in that arena, Michael Jordan wins every single time. The eye test is pure, it's unfiltered. It asks the simplest, most devastating question. When you watched him play, did you believe you were seeing the greatest to ever touch the ball? With Jordan, the answer was always yes. Every move told you something no box score ever could. The way he levitated in midair, switching hands against the Lakers in 1991, the cold-blooded shrug against Portland in 1992 after 6 three-pointers in a half, the flu game in 1997 when he dragged his broken body through 38 points, the final shot in 1998, freezing time as he buried the Jazz and walked away as a champion. That is the eye test. It bypasses analytics and goes straight to the soul. You didn't need a chart to know Jordan was the best. You saw it, you felt it, you believed it. LeBron, by contrast, lives in the world of the stat test. His fans lean on longevity, on accumulation, on being top 5 in points, rebounds, and assists. But longevity is not dominance. Playing longer does not equal playing greater. Jordan didn't need 20 years to prove he was the best. He needed a decade. In 13 seasons with the Wolves, he delivered 6 titles, 6 Finals MVPs, and 10 scoring crowns. His peak wasn't stretched thin, it was compressed dynamite, exploding year after year. And even the numbers, when stripped of context, betray the truth. Jordan has the highest career scoring average in NBA history at 30.1 points per game. He led the league in steals 3 times. He made 9 all-defensive first teams. He never lost in the finals. The stat sheet doesn't hide him, it screams his greatness. But it's not the reason he's the GOAT.
Jordan is the GOAT because the eye test told you so before the rings ever came. The way he moved, the way he dominated, the way he imposed his will, it transcended math. Stats can be debated, longevity can be manipulated, but the eye test is eternal, and in that realm, Jordan stands alone. Jordan had no weakness, the perfect player. Every great player, no matter how legendary, has always carried a flaw. Magic Johnson couldn't shoot consistently from deep. Larry Bird lacked elite athleticism. Shaquille O'Neal was a liability at the free throw line. Kobe Bryant's shot selection often betrayed him. LeBron James, for years, critics pointed to his lack of a killer instinct, his shaky jumper, his finals record. But Michael Jordan? What was his weakness? Search all you want, there is none. Offensively, he was a master of every weapon. He could slash to the rim with unparalleled explosiveness, gliding through defenses and finishing over big men who thought they had position. He developed one of the deadliest mid-range games in basketball history. The fadeaway jumper, honed to surgical precision, became as inevitable as gravity itself. He could post up guards and punish mismatches, shoot over wings, or drive past centers who dared switch onto him. He was both beauty and brutality wrapped in the same package. Defensively, Jordan was just as lethal. 9-time All-Defensive First Team, 1988 Defensive Player of the Year, a relentless on-ball defender who could suffocate the league's best scorers, yet equally devastating off-ball with steals, anticipation, and transition punishment. He guarded positions 1 through 3 with ease and struck fear into anyone careless enough to dribble near him. And then came the intangibles, the part of the game you can't measure but always feel. Jordan's conditioning was legendary, his competitiveness was unmatched, a furnace that burned hotter the bigger the stage became. His clutch factor wasn't a highlight or a myth, it was a pattern. Time and again, he delivered in the moments that mattered most. 6 finals, 6 finals MVPs. Not once did he let the biggest stage expose him. Every other superstar has been dissected. Fans and analysts alike nitpick flaws to pull them down from the mountain. But with Jordan, there is nothing to grab onto. No weak link in his chain. No Achilles heel to expose. He wasn't the tallest, the heaviest, or the strongest, but he was the most complete. The perfect synthesis of skill, athleticism, mentality, and willpower. This is why Jordan's place is untouchable. You can argue numbers, you can argue eras, but you cannot argue perfection. And Michael Jordan was as close to perfection as basketball has ever seen. The killer instinct that no one could replicate. There's greatness, and then there's the hunger that devours greatness. That was Michael Jordan. His killer instinct wasn't a phrase, it was a force of nature. Jordan didn't just want to win, he wanted to crush you, break your will, humiliate you forever, daring to step on the same floor. He didn't care if it was practice, preseason, or the NBA Finals. Every possession was war, every matchup a personal vendetta. If you doubted him, if you trash-talked him, if you so much as breathed in his direction, congratulations, you had just written your own obituary. Ask Clyde Drexler. In the 1992 finals, comparisons between Drexler and Jordan were the talk of the media. Jordan took it personally.
Result? He buried Portland with 6 3-pointers in the first half of Game 1, staring daggers at the commentary table as if to say, "Don't you ever disrespect me again." Ask Brian Russell. In the 1998 finals, one crossover and a dagger jumper ended Utah's dream and closed Jordan's Bulls career with the most iconic shot in NBA history. That wasn't just skill, that was ruthlessness sharpened into art. Even his teammates weren't spared. Jordan pushed, prodded, and sometimes outright bullied them, because in his mind, winning demanded it.
He believed the price of greatness was discomfort, and if you couldn't handle his fire in practice, how could you possibly handle the flames of the finals? He didn't want friends, he wanted killers by his side. This mindset separated him from everyone else. LeBron James is a generational talent, but his approach has always been about empowerment, trust, and making the right play. Kobe Bryant came closest, but even Kobe admitted he studied Jordan's every move, every twitch, every psychological weapon. Jordan's killer instinct wasn't learned, it was ingrained, it was his DNA. He didn't merely play basketball, he hunted. He hunted legacies, reputations, dynasties, and destroyed them all. This is why, no matter how many stats pile up, no matter how many records fall, the conversation always circles back to him. Because greatness isn't just about numbers, it's about fear. And Michael Jordan was the one player in history who made even the greatest men afraid. The untouchable throne of Michael Jordan. When we step back and look at the full picture, the truth becomes undeniable. Michael Jordan didn't just dominate an era, he defined what dominance meant. He faced Hall of Famers at every turn, conquered dynasties, and never once faltered on the biggest stage. He wasn't just the best player on the court, he was the embodiment of basketball itself. His skills were flawless, his mentality was ruthless, his legacy was immortal. He turned the NBA into a global phenomenon, gave the world a hero and a symbol, and left behind a standard so impossibly high that every superstar since has lived in his shadow. LeBron James has had a legendary career, but his path is one of longevity, not perfection. Kobe Bryant studied Jordan religiously, but even he admitted that everything came from the source. Magic and Bird saved the league, but Jordan globalized it. Every legend contributed to the game's story, but Jordan wrote the chapter that can never be rewritten. The numbers will always spark debates, the highlight reels will always ignite comparisons, but when you strip it all down to the essence, fear, dominance, perfection, culture, impact, there is only one name left standing: Michael Jeffrey Jordan. He is the standard, he is the measure, he is the throne. And that throne, no matter how many try to climb it, remains untouchable, because greatness can be matched in numbers, but true greatness is the kind that changes the game forever, the kind that lives in the souls of fans across generations, the kind that makes you feel something deeper than sports. That greatness belonged to Michael Jordan, and it will never belong to anyone.